the Supreme Lord. Om Agyantimirandasya Gyananjana Shlokaya Chakshuran Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Bhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadam Mayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Tamatri Mahapro Vibhur Nirmai Kshetayadam Shuparushabam Tegunan Sadasa Sadasatmaka Yalankrisishta Bhagavan Vachamsime Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Hare Krishna. Thank you everyone for joining in. And we will continue from yesterday's exercise, which was discussion based on the chapter from Mahabharata, which is called The Lake of Death, how 5 Pandavas were trying to help a Brahmana to recover his yagya paraphernalias, which were taken away by a deer, and they came across the lake being very thirsty, and they tried to drink water, and then unembodied voice forbade them one after another to drink the water before they answer questions. And the 4 brothers who came to the lake first, one by one, they didn't listen, and they drank the water, and they fell dead on the shore of the lake. And it was only Maharaj Yudhishthira who came, and he saw his brothers, and then he wanted to drink water as well. And then the same voice forbade him to drink water before answering questions. And Maharaj Yudhishthira realized this is some very powerful being, demigods, who is challenging them, and he decided to answer the questions. And the being came to be, finally, Yudhishthira's original father, who was Dharmaraj or Yamaraj. And Yudhishthira gave very deep answers to the, and very precise answers to the questions of Yamaraj. This part of Mahabharata is also known as Yaksha Prashna, because Dharmaraj was posing as Yaksha, the spirit. And we were analyzing the first 4 questions and answers from Maharaj Yudhishthira. And I think it's very good opportunity to go deeper into the subject of Krishna consciousness. Actually, one senior Vaishnava, Mukundadatta Prabhu, gave an analogy. He said, if you're fish in the pond, and if you are swimming very close to the surface, then what can happen? The pelican or some bird which is subsisting on fish can catch you So, but if you go deep, it is very safe. So he gave an analogy: if we are very close to the surface, then the pelican of Maya can easily catch us. But if we are going deeper in our Krishna consciousness, then we are in a safe position. So surfing is a very dangerous business. And yesterday it was very impressive that devotees gave quite nice answers. And again, for those of you who just joined us, our rule is to confirm the answers from Maharaj Yudhishthir primarily by references from Bhagavad Gita and possibly also from Srimad Bhagavatam. And what I will do, I can share a screen with you so that you would be able to see what we are reading and possibly see the references as well. So for the answers, please use your chat window and we will see who will give the best references to the answers. So yesterday we've discussed the first 4 questions Yaksha asked. So the first one was, and I hope everyone who took part yesterday, quite a few of you are back. So I hope you enjoyed it. And you've gained something out of it. Let me see how many of you took part. You can maybe share in the chat your experiences from yesterday if you gained something out of it. Personally, I gained a lot for myself because devotees showed perspectives which I was not expecting sometimes. Yeah, so I've also learned how to deepen my own Krishna consciousness. All right. So yesterday, thank you. Good. I'm glad that many of you liked it. So yesterday we've discussed the first 4 questions. What makes the soul rise out of his entanglement in matter? We're all entangled in matter, so we need to know how can we rise as the soul. Who keeps him company? Who is his guide? And on that spiritual journey and on what he is established. Yes, good. So the answers from Maharaj Yudhishthir were, it is knowledge of the Supreme Lord which makes the soul rise. Godly qualities are his companions. Dharma is his guide and he is established on truth. So many nice references we've got from the devotees. So today we will continue with the other 4 questions. What makes one learned? How does one attain to that which is most exalted? How does one acquire a second self? And by what, O king, does one become wise? As we know, there are very few people who are really wise. Mostly people are otherwise. So The answers are: one becomes learned by studying the Vedas. By asceticism, one attains what is most exalted. Intelligence is like a second self, and serving one's elders makes one wise. Okay, so let's reflect on the first answer today. What makes one learned? One becomes learned by studying the Vedas. That should not be very difficult. So if anyone can give us references from Bhagavad Gita, how one become learned by studying the Vedas. No answers? Oh, surprise. Okay, 428. Bhagavad Gita, having accepted strict vows, some become enlightened by sacrificing their possessions, and others by performing severe austerities, by practicing the yoga of eightfold mysticism, or by studying the Vedas to advance in transcendental knowledge. Okay, very good reference from Mahaprabhu. Are different Veda for different Varna, Ashrama, and different Guna? Well, Vedas means knowledge, and so knowledge is one, but yeah, there are different parts of Vedas meant for different people in different modes and different positions. Okay, let's go for 1515. This is very famous text. I hope you see that on your screen. Sarvasya chaham hridisa nivishto matasmritirgyanam apohanam cha vedascha sarvarahameva vedyo vedanta krit vedavideva chaham. I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas, I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta, and I'm the knower of the Vedas. Okay. So 1315. That's about super soul. 1315. Unless it is a mistake.
13.5.
Oh, 13.5, sorry. 13.5, yeah. Okay. That knowledge of the field of activities and of the knower of activities is described by various sages in various Vedic writings. It is especially represented in Vedanta Sutra with all reasoning and to cause as to cause and effect. Okay, very good. Reference to Vedas. Very nice. And 1624, very good reference, very good quote. I was also thinking about it. The final verse of the chapter. Tasmat chastram pramanam te karya karya vyavastito. Oops. Sorry. Gyatva shastra vidanaktam karma kartum iharhasi. One should therefore understand what is duty and what is not duty by the regulations of the scriptures. Knowing such rules and regulation, one should act so that he may gradually be elevated. Okay, very good. Okay. 18, 20, and 22. Okay. That knowledge by which one undivided spiritual nature is seen in all living entities, though they are divided into innumerable forms, you should understand to be in the mode of goodness. that knowledge by which one sees that in every different body there is a different type of being that you should understand to be in the mode of action. And that knowledge by which one is attached to one kind of work as the all in all, without knowledge of the truth, and which is very meager, is said to be in the mode of darkness. Okay. Interesting. 3 types of knowledge. 15.1 discusses the ban entry of material existence. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, it is said that there is an imperishable banyan tree that has its roots upward and its branches down, and whose leaves are the Vedic hymns. One who knows this tree is the knower of the Vedas. It is very interesting that even the Supreme Lord in Bhagavad Gita actually more than once is referring to scriptures, even though he says even though he already established himself as the Supreme Lord, but still he refers to Vedic scriptures. So even if someone is God, one still has to refer to Vedas. It's a very interesting example. So 1520, this is the most confidential part of the Vedic scriptures, O sinless one, and it is disclosed now by me. Whoever understands this will become wise, and his endeavors will know perfection. Yeah, very good reference. Actually, chapter 15 is the most confidential knowledge because Krishna is describing his own position in relation to this world and in relation to other living entities. And then 1864, this is interesting quote. Because you are my very dear friend, I'm speaking to you my supreme instruction, the most confidential knowledge of all. Hear this from me, for it is for your benefit. Okay. And from Tiffany, 18.3. Some learned men declare that all kinds of fruitive activities should be given up as faulty, yet other sages maintain that acts of sacrifice, charity, and penance should never be abandoned. Are you sure this is the right quote? Because it doesn't say much about Vedic knowledge. 18.5. Acts of sacrifice, charity, and penance are not to be given up. They must be performed. Indeed, sacrifice, charity, and penance purify even great souls. Well, I personally don't see how this is referring to our exact subject, becoming learned by studying Vedas. 7.2. I shall now declare unto you in full this knowledge, both phenomenal and numinous. Thus being known, this being known, nothing further shall remain for you to know. And this is the introduction to explain Bhakti Yoga and how Krishna is all-pervading. So Krishna starts describing knowledge of himself. So 246 from Prita. All purposes served by a small veil, can at once be served by a great reservoir of water. Similarly, all the purposes of the Vedas can be served to one who knows the purpose behind them. That's an excellent quote. Congratulations. Very good. 1870 to 72 from Breach. And I declare that he who studies this sacred conversation of ours worships me by his intelligence, and one who listens with faith and without envy becomes free from sinful reactions and attains to the auspicious planets where the pious dwell. O son of Prita, conqueror of wealth, have you heard this with attentive mind? And are your ignorance and illusions now dispelled? Well, it's about knowledge in general, but indirectly maybe it is also about Vedic knowledge. But it's not such a precise answer, not such a precise reference. So chapter 16, text 1 to 3, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, fearlessness, purification of one's existence, cultivation of spiritual knowledge, charity, self-control, performance of sacrifice, study of the Vedas, austerity, simplicity, non-violence, truthfulness, freedom from anger, renunciation, tranquility, aversion to all, finding compassion to all living entities, freedom from covetousness, gentleness, modesty, steady, determination, vigor, forgiveness, fortitude, cleanliness, and freedom from envy and from the passion for honor. These transcendental qualities, O son of Bharat, belong to godly man endowed with divine nature. 18.4. Tiffany really likes chapter 18. 18.4. O best of the Bharatas, now hear my judgment about renunciation of tiger among men. Renunciation is declared in the scriptures to be of three kinds. Well, that's interesting. That's speaking about renunciation rather than Vedic knowledge, even though renunciation is part of Vedic knowledge, no doubt. So 253, when your mind is no longer disturbed by the flowery language of the Vedas, and when it remains fixed in the trance of self-realization, then you will have attained the divine consciousness. So that's speaking about actually knowledge which is even higher than Vedic knowledge. 438. In this world, there is nothing so sublime and pure as transcendental knowledge. Such knowledge is the mature fruit of all mysticism. And one who has become accomplished in the practice of devotional service enjoys this knowledge within himself in due course of time. Good quote. But there is one other quote I am really interested to see if anyone mentions. Okay, chapter 17, text 15 from Mahaprabhu. Austerity of speech consists of speaking words that are truthful, pleasing, beneficial, not agitating to others, and also in regularly reciting Vedic literature. Okay, so recitation of Vedas is included in Tapasya. 440. But ignorant and faithless persons who doubt the revealed scriptures do not attain God consciousness. They fall down. For the doubting soul, there is happiness neither in this world nor in the next. Very good quote, by the way, from Utkarshini. Very good. Okay, 440, then 9:15. Oh, 7:8. 7, 8. O son of Kunti, I am the taste of water, the light of the sun and the moon, the syllable Om in the Vedic mantras. I am the sound in ether and ability in man. So, okay, we bring all the texts which are mentioning Vedas. Okay. And then 7, 8 and 9, 15 from Utkarshini. Others who engage in sacrifice by the cultivation of knowledge worship the Supreme Lord as the one without a second, as diverse in many and in a universal form. Huh. Vedas considered part of scriptures. Well, Vedas are scriptures. There is no difference between Vedas and scriptures. They're the same. 1520. Yeah, I think we've read this one already. This is the most confidential part of Vedic scriptures of Sinless One, and it is disclosed now by me. Whoever understands this will become wise, and his endeavors will know perfection. Okay. 410 from Navnik Chor. That's an interesting quote. 410. Being freed from attachment, fear, and anger, being fully absorbed in me and taking refuge in me, many persons in the past became purified by knowledge of me, and thus they all attained transcendental love for me. Okay. Purification by transcendental knowledge. 242. Men of small knowledge are very much attached to the flowery words of the Vedas, which recommend various fruitive activities for elevation to heavenly planets, resultant good birth, power, and so forth. Being desirous of sanctification or opulent life, they say that there is nothing more than this. Very interesting. Krishna condemns actually Vedic knowledge in some parts of it. 9.2, I think, was mentioned already. Before, this knowledge is the king of education, the most secret of all secrets. It is the purest knowledge, and because it gives direct perception of the self by realization, is the perfection of religion. It's everlasting, and it is joyfully performed. Okay, 245. The Vedas deal mainly with the subject of the three modes of material nature, or Arjuna, become transcendental to these three modes, be free from all duality and from all anxieties for gain and safety, be established in the self. And 46, which is mentioned, was mentioned before, but it is very precise quote. I think this is the best quote in regards to that answer. All purposes served by a small well can at once be served by a great reservoir of water. Similarly, all the purposes of the Vedas can be served to one who knows the purpose behind them. All right, thank you. Very good. And so what's the purpose of the Vedic knowledge? That is to bring us to devotional service of Krishna. Okay, thank you. I think 246 is the best answer. And second question is, how does one attain to that which is most exalted? And the answer is by asceticism. One attains what is most exalted, so we can understand that it is tapasya. So by performing tapasya, one attains to the most exalted level. Okay, so references to the benefits of tapasya from Bhagavad Gita. some of them were already given, so I think it should not be very hard for you. Yes, chapter 6, text 47 from Mahaprabhu, and of all yogis, the one with great faith who always abides in me, thinks of me within himself, and renders transcendental loving service to me. He is the most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. That is my opinion. Well, yeah. If you, yeah, compare yoga with tapasya, probably the good quote. Yeah. 6, 11, and 12. To practice yoga, one should go to a secluded place, should lay kusha grass on the ground and then cover it with a skin and a soft cloth. The seat should be neither too high nor low and should be situated in a sacred place. The yogi should sit on it very firmly and practice yoga to purify the heart by controlling his mind, senses, and activities and fixing the mind on one point. Doesn't specifically mentions tapasya, but yeah, if you again take yoga as tapasya as such, there is a connection. 12. Ooh, that's an interesting quote. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Those who fix their minds on my personal form and are always engaged in worshiping me with great and transcendental faith are considered to be the most perfect." Nice quote, even though it doesn't really mention any tapasya as such. Okay. 1865-66. Man manabhav mad bhakto madhya jivam namaskuru mam evaishyasi satyam te pratijane priyasi. May always think of me, become my devotee, worship me, and offer your homage unto me. Thus you will come to me without fail. I promise you this because you are my very dear friend. Abandon all right. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. So that's interesting how this is connected to austerity, becoming exalted by austerities. 17:14. Austerity, okay. Very good. Austerity, the body consists in worship of the Supreme Lord, the Brahmanas, the spiritual master and superiors, like the father and mother, and in cleanliness, simplicity, celibacy, and non-violence. And probably you can add two following verses 15 and 16 for austerity of speech and austerity of mind as well. Yeah, someone mentions that 17:14 to 17, not 16, most precisely. So from Mahaprabhu, chapter 5, text 29, person full consciousness of me, knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities, the Supreme Lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attains peace from pangs of material miseries. Okay, good quote, famous quote. Yes, 6:29 and 6:30. Let's look at this. Yeah, quite good quotes. A true yogi observes me in all beings and also sees every being in me. Indeed, the self-realized person sees me, the same Supreme Lord. everywhere. For one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I am never lost, nor is he ever lost to me. That's interesting how this is connected to tapasya. So from Utkarshini, 1842. Peacefulness, self-control, austerity, purity, tolerance, honesty, knowledge, wisdom, and religiousness. These are the natural qualities by which the Brahmanas work. Okay. Brahmanas are meant to be austere. Prabhupada would say that austerity is the wealth of the Brahmana. So the question, would you say regulating yourself is a form of austerity? To some degree, yes, but yeah, can be discipline as well. 528. That's interesting quote. Shutting out all external sense objects, keeping the eyes and vision concentrated between the two eyebrows, suspending the inward and outward breaths with the nose, and thus controlling the mind, senses, and intelligence. The transcendentalist aiming at liberation becomes free from desire, fear, and anger. One who is always in this state is certainly liberated. Nectar of Instruction, text 2. Whoa, we're going into Nectar of Instruction. So text 2 is giving up 6 things which impede in the development of bhakti, which are Atyahara Prayasas Cha Prajalponi Amagraha Jana Sangam Cha Laulyam Cha Shadbir Bhaktir Vinashyati. So Atyahara, overeating or over collecting, Prayasa, which means extraneous efforts for material goals, Prajalpa, idle talks, Niyamagraha, following rules or abandoning rules of the Vedas, Jana Sangha, association with mundane people, and Lolyam, greed for materialistic achievements. So all these are considered to be obstacles on the path of bhakti, which is, yes, that to follow that is definitely an austerity. Okay, someone even gives quotes from Bhagavatam, which is good. 259. Though the embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, the taste for sense objects remains, but ceasing such engagements by experiencing a higher taste, he is fixed in consciousness. Okay, interesting. Yes, not just by austerity, but by higher taste, one can become advanced. 17, 26, and 27. The absolute truth is the objective of devotional sacrifice, and it is indicated by the word sat. The performers of such sacrifice is also called sat, as are all works of sacrifice, penance, and charity, which true to the absolute nature are performed to please the Supreme Person or Son of Krita. Okay, that's interesting. Quote. And from Utkarshini, Bhagavad Gita 18.5, which is acts of sacrifice, charity, and penance are not to be given up, they must be performed. Indeed, sacrifice, charity, and penance purify even the great souls. This is a very good quote. And Bhagavatam 551, my dear sons, there is no reason to labor very hard for sense pleasure, while in this human form of life, such pleasures are available to the stool eaters, hawks. Rather, you should undergo penances in this life by which your existence will be purified, and as a result, you will be able to enjoy unlimited transcendental bliss. That's a very good quote. Nayam deha deha pajam niriloke kashtan kaman arhate vidbujam ye tapo divyam putrakayana satvam shudhe yasman ram sobhyam manam. So yes, tapo divyam, one should perform tapasya for divine purposes, divyam. Excellent. I think Utkarshini should be the winner for this question because she gave Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam very relevant quotes. So 1866 again. Sarvadharmam parityaja, just surrender unto me. We already mentioned that quote. 1842. Peacefulness, self-control, austerity, purity, tolerance, honesty, knowledge, wisdom, and religiousness. These are the natural qualities by which the Brahmanas work. We've read this quote already. 1717 from Sri Devi. These threefold austerity performed with transcendental faith by men not expecting material benefits but engaged only for the sake of the supreme is called austerity in goodness. Okay, good. 725. Without desiring fruitive results, one should perform various kinds of sacrifice, penance, charity with the word tat, the purpose of such transcendental activity, to get free from material entanglement. Okay. And that's it. 1714. 1714. Austerity of the body consists, yes, that I think we've mentioned. 14, 15, and 16. Austerity of the body consists in worship of the Supreme Lord, the Brahmanas, the spiritual master, and superiors like the father and mother, and in cleanliness, simplicity, celibacy, and non-violence. Okay, good. Many good quotes, but I think Utkarshini Simantini should be the winner for this question because she gave excellent quotes both from Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam 18.5 and 5.1. Okay, thank you all very much. We'll move on to the next question. How does one acquire a second self? And Yudhishthir Maharaj explains that intelligence is like a second self. Very interesting. So well, let's see if anyone will come up with any references to intelligence, which is like the second self. Intelligence is your second self. Okay, 10. Okay, Darshini gives quite a good quote, yes. Sham satata yuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam tadami buddhi yogam tam yanamam upayantite. To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. Yes, and Sanskrit says, I give the intelligence. Dadami buddhi yogam tam. So very good quote. All right. Anyone else? There are more and very nice quotes. Intelligence as your second self. 342, very good. That was actually the quote I was looking for. Congratulations, you got it. So 3, actually it's yeah, the working senses are superior to dull matter, mind is higher than the senses, intelligence is still higher than the mind, and he, the soul, is even higher than the intelligence. And actually 343 is even more relevant. It says about spiritual intelligence, thus knowing oneself to be transcendental to the material senses, mind, and intelligence. O mighty Arjuna, one should steady the mind by the deliberate spiritual intelligence, Krishna consciousness, and thus by spiritual strength conquer this insatiable enemy known as lust. Okay, Navneet Chor is giving quote from chapter 12, text A. Just fix your mind upon me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and engage all your intelligence in me. Thus you will live in me always without a doubt. Okay? Fixing your mind and intelligence on Krishna. Any more quotes? Intelligence as your second self, as your second self. 266. One who is not connected with the Supreme in Krishna consciousness can have neither transcendental intelligence nor a steady mind, without which there is no possibility of peace. And how can there be any happiness without peace? Very good quote again from Utkarshini Simantini. 267 and 68. Okay. As a strong wind sweeps away a boat on the water, even one of the roaming senses on which the mind focuses can carry away a man's intelligence. Therefore, almighty armed one whose senses are restrained from their objects is certainly of steady intelligence. Okay, good. Yes, intelligence is very important. More quotes? $250. When your intelligence has passed out of the dense forest of delusion, you shall become indifferent to all that has been heard and all that is to be heard. That's very powerful text, which says that when you will know, you won't be swayed by anyone saying whatever they can say, right? Because you already know. 720. Those whose intelligence has been stolen by material desires surrender unto them gods and follow the particular rules and regulations of worship according to their own natures. So, yeah, that's not intelligence, but the absence of intelligence. 12.8. Just fix your mind. Yeah, that was already quoted, I think, by Navneet Chorbrahma. Just fix your mind upon me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and engage all your intelligence in me. Thus you will live in me always without a doubt. Okay? Chapter 5, text 17. When one's intelligence, mind, faith, and refuge are all fixed in the Supreme, then one becomes fully cleansed of misgivings through complete knowledge and thus proceeds straight on the path of liberation. Yeah, intelligence mentioned first. Wow. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, text 16, chapter 16, text 44. Wow, okay, let's check it out. Tiffany really goes deep into the Bhagavatam. 1644. Being surrendered to me, one should be in life, and then through loving devotional intelligence, one will completely fulfill the mission of life. Okay, very interesting quote. Thank you. 1870. Yeah, worshipping Krishna with intelligence. He who studies the sacred conversation of ours worships me by his intelligence. Very good quote. 7.2 from Navneet Chorbrahma. I shall now declare unto you in full this knowledge, both phenomenal and luminous. Thus being known, nothing further shall remain for you to know. And from Utkarshini Simantini, 1851 to 53. Being purified by his intelligence and controlling the mind with determination, giving up the objects of sense gratification, being freed from detachment and hatred, one who lives in a secluded place, who eats little, who controls his body, mind, and power of speech, who is always in trance and who is detached, free from false ego, false strength, false pride, lust, anger, and acceptance of material things, free from false proprietorship and peaceful, such a person is certainly elevated to the position of self-realization. Okay. Intelligence is purifying. Okay. Another quote from Bhagavatam 3:26-31. Again, this is from Lord Kapila Dev. 3:26. (31). 26:31. And since we are on this chapter, let's check the 29 as well from Prita and then go to 31. By transformation of the false ego and passion, intelligence takes birth, a virtuous lady. The functions of intelligence are to help in ascertaining the nature of objects when they come into view and to help the senses. Okay, interesting. Yes. Human life is dominated by passion, so intelligence is definitely important. Egoism in the mode of passion produces two kinds of senses, the senses for acquiring knowledge and the senses of action. The senses of action depend on the vital energy, and the senses for acquiring knowledge depend on intelligence. Okay, interesting quote. Then Bhagavad Gita 2:15. O best among men, Arjuna, the person who is not disturbed by happiness and distress, and is steady in both is certainly eligible for liberation. Okay. It's emotional intelligence from Bharat. 625. Gradually, step by step, one should become situated in trance by means of intelligence, sustained by full conviction, and thus the mind should be fixed on the self alone and should think of nothing else. That's quite interesting quote. That intelligence can help us to to be situated in trance. Wow. Chaitanya Charitamrita Antya-lila 14:1. Sure. Okay. Let's check Chaitanya Charitamrita Antya-lila 14:1. Yeah, definitely. Chaitanya Charitamrita has very powerful quotes on intelligence. Now describe a very small activities performed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with his mind, intelligence, and body when he was bewildered by strong feelings of separation from Krishna. Well, it's mentioning intelligence, but it's not really so much connected to the answer. Okay. Again, quotes from chapter Canto 11. 11, 29, 22. Oops. 11:29. Bhakti Yoga. That sounds promising. 22. This process is the supreme intelligence of the intelligent and the cleverness of the most clever. For by following it, one can, in this very life, make use of the temporary and unreal to achieve me the eternal reality. Very good. So it's glorifying the process of devotional service. Krishna is glorifying it. And yeah, actually, Chaitanya Charitamrita has very powerful quote that says that one who is worshipping Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the most intelligent. Seboro Chatur. I'm not exactly sure where it is in Chaitanya Charitamrita, but it is there. Srimad Bhagavatam 4:29:5. The great sage Narada continued the word pramada mentioned in this regard refers to material intelligence or ignorance. It is to be understood as such when one takes shelter of this kind of intelligence, he identifies himself with the material body. Influenced by the material consciousness of I and mind, he begins to enjoy and suffer through the senses. Thus, the living entity is entrapped. Very interesting. Material intelligence is compared to ignorance by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. All right, thank you. Many good answers, actually. It's even hard to choose the best one. But I think yeah, they can't remember who gave the answer 10-10. I think this is really good answer. Again, Utkarshani Simantini. Yes, that our second self, our intelligence comes from the Supreme Lord. Actually, Srila Prabhupada was saying that super soul and intelligence are next door neighbors. And so oftentimes super soul guides us through the intelligence. So that's why Krishna consciousness is defined as Buddhi Yoga, yoga of intelligence. So I think, yeah, Utkarshani Simantini gave the best answer again. Okay, now we still have a few minutes left. We are only on the second question and answer. Oh no, third and fourth, by serving one's elders makes one wise. So serving elders make us wise. 334, very good. Yeah, I actually expected that. That it is coming again from Utkarshani Simantini. Wow, Utkarshani Simantini seems to really know Prabhupada's books well. So famous Bhagavad Gita verse, Tatviti Pranipat Pariprasnasya Jnanam Jnaninas Tattva Darshanaha. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized souls can impart knowledge unto you because they have seen the truth. Definitely, no doubt that spiritual master is the best type of elder we can serve. And this kind of service definitely makes us wise. Thank you. Very good answer. There are, of course, other references to serving elders in Bhagavad Gita, but I think this answer is still the best answer of all. Yeah, that quote which was given before in chapter 17 also gives austerity of the body. That text 14, which consists in worship of the Supreme Lord, the Brahmanas, the spiritual masters and superiors like the father and mother, and in cleanliness, simplicity, celibacy, and non-violence. Okay, so very good. And we still have a little more time to maybe deal with a few more questions, couple of questions, hopefully. So the Yaksha then asked about all kinds of stretching from worldly wisdom to knowledge of religion to spiritual matters. Yudhishthira answered them all without hesitation. Finally, the Yaksha said, I am satisfied. Answer my last 4 questions, and I will restore one of your brothers to life. Who in this world is happy? What is the most wonderful thing? What are the tidings of this world? And how can one find the eternal path of religion? So the final questions, and they are very powerful. And with folded palms, Yudhishthira replied, he who is neither in debt nor exiled and who lives simply, eating simple food in his own home is happy. The most wonderful thing is that although every day innumerable creatures go to the abode of death, still a man thinks he is immortal. The tidings are that in this world, which is like a cauldron with the sun as its fire, days and nights as its fuel, and months and seasons as its wooden ladle, all creatures are being cooked by time. The eternal religious path is found only in the heart of great mystics. Very famous quote. Okay. First one, happiness. One who is neither in debt nor exiled and who lives simply, eating simple food in his own home is happy. Okay, let's see if you can find any references to this kind of happiness from Bhagavad Gita. Neither in debt nor exiled and who lives simply, eating simple food in his own home is happy. A bit of a challenge, but if you know Bhagavad Gita well, you can find the good answers. But you got stuck with happiness? Uh, there are many, many references in Bhagavad Gita. I'm surprised you're not giving any. Okay, 255 to 272. Wow. Okay, let's start with chapter 255. Part of when a man gives up all varieties of desire for sense gratification which arise from mental concoction, and when his mind, thus purified, finds satisfaction in self alone, then he is said to be in pure transcendental consciousness. One who is not disturbed in mind, even amidst the threefold miseries, or elated when there is happiness, and who is free from attachment, fear, and anger, is called a sage of steady mind. In the material world, one who is unaffected by whatever good or evil he may obtain, neither praising it nor despising it, is firmly fixed in perfect knowledge. One who is able to withdraw his senses from sense objects, as the tortoise draws its limbs within this shell, is firmly fixed in perfect consciousness. Thus, the embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment. This taste for sense objects remains, but ceasing such engagements by experiencing a higher taste, he is fixed in consciousness. The senses are so strong and impetuous, or Arjuna, that they forcibly carry away the mind even of a man of discrimination who is endeavoring to control them. One who restrains his senses, keeping them under full control, and fixes his consciousness upon me, is known as a man of steady intelligence. While contemplating the objects of the senses, a person develops attachment for them, and from such attachment lust develops, and from lust anger arises, from anger complete delusion arises, and from delusion bewilderment of memory. When memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost, and when intelligence is lost, one falls down again into the material pool. But the person free from all attachment and aversion and able to control his senses through regulative principles of freedom can obtain the complete mercy of the Lord. For one thus satisfied in Krishna consciousness, the threefold miseries of material existence exist no longer in such satisfied consciousness. Satisfied intelligence is soon established, one who is not connected with Krishna consciousness can have neither transcendental intelligence nor a steady mind, without which there is no possibility of peace. And how can there be any happiness without peace? As a strong wind swept away by both on the water. Even one of the roaming senses on which the mind focuses can carry away a man's intelligence. Therefore, Almighty armed one whose senses are restrained from their object is certainly of steady intelligence. What is night for all beings is awakening for the self-controlled, and the time of awakening for all beings is night for the introspective sage. A person who is not disturbed by the incessant flow of desires that enter like rivers into the ocean, which is even ever being filled but is always still, can alone achieve peace, and not the man who strives to satisfy such desires. A person who has given up all desires for sense gratification, who lives free from desires, who has given up all sense of proprietorship, is devoid of all Siga. He alone can attain real peace. That is the way of spiritual godly life, after attaining which a man is not bewildered. If one is thus situated, even at the hour of death, enter the kingdom of God. 529. Bhaktaram Yagadapasam Sarvalokam Maheshwaram Suvridam Sarvabhutanam Gyatvam Shantim Richati. That one person in full consciousness of me, knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities, the supreme lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attains peace from pangs of material miseries. 521. Such a liberated person is not attracted to material sense pleasure, but is always in trance, enjoying the pleasure within. In this way, the self-realized person enjoys unlimited happiness, for he concentrates on the Supreme. Okay, chapter 3, text 13. Okay, that's very good. From Mahaprabhu, the devotees of the Lord are released from all kinds of sins because they eat food which is offered first for sacrifice. Others who prepare food for personal sense enjoyment verily eat only sin. That's very nice, very specific quote. Other quotes are a bit vague, not very specific. Thus, the self-controlled yogi, constantly engaged in yoga practice, becomes free from all material contamination and achieves the highest stage of perfect happiness in transcendental loving service to the Lord. 628. And then 926. If one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, fruit, or water, I will accept it. 1416. From Tiffany. The result of pious action is pure and is said to be in a mode of goodness, but action done in a mode of passion results in misery, and action performed in a mode of ignorance results in foolishness. Can be, but not too specific, to happiness of being at home and eating simple food. Okay, chapter 17, text 8. Foods dear to those in the mode of goodness increase the duration of life, purify one's existence, and give strength, health, happiness, and satisfaction. Such foods are juicy, fatty, wholesome, and pleasing to the heart. Very nice quote, very specific. 422. He who is satisfied with gain which comes of its own accord, who is free from duality and does not envy, who is steady in both success and failure, is never entangled, although performing actions can be but little bit vague. The best kind of answers are the type of non-nature referred to. So chapter 12, text 13 and 14. Again, qualities of a devotee. One who is not envious, but a good friend to all living entities, who does not think himself a proprietor and is freed from false ego, who is equal in both happiness and distress, who is tolerant, always satisfied, self-control, engaged in devotional service with determination. His mind and intelligence fixed on me, such a devotee of mine is very dear to me. And 512 from Utkarshini Simantini, the steadily devoted soul attains unadulterated peace because he offers the result of all activities to me, whereas a person who is not in union with the divine, who is greedy for the fruits of his labor, becomes entangled. When the embodied living being controls his nature and mentally renounces all actions, he resides happily in the city of nine gates, the material body neither working nor causing work to be done. Okay, 513 is a little bit more precise. All right, so thank you all very much. Wonderful answers. Unfortunately, our time is up, but yeah, very impressed with your knowledge of Srila Prabhupada's books and ability to find the matching quotes quite quickly. So please continue studying Srila Prabhupada's books, and I'll be looking forward to opportunities to connect with you again online and hopefully offline as well. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Shri Mahabharata ki jai.
Mahabharata ki jai. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Jai Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.
Jai.
Nande. Hare
Jai.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, Maharaj. Very nice class.
Thank you. Very good.
Thank you very much. Learnt so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, everyone.
Thank you,
Hare
Maharaj.
Bol.
Hare
Thank you
Krishna.
very much. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
So just to let everyone know as well, we will be also having more classes with Maharaj in the evenings this week as well as next week. So this week, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday at 7 p.m. we'll be having classes via Zoom. The exact same details as for the retreat. So please do join us again. And yes, thank you, Maharaj. It's been very nice having you for the, I think it's the third retreat now in a row.
Yeah.
So hopefully
This
we'll
one
be
little unusual.
yeah. But we'll hopefully as well you'll be with us again next year, making it almost like an annual part of your schedule, Maharaj. So
Yeah, hopefully offline next year.
yeah. So thank you very much, Maharaj. So
Hare
yes,
Krishna.
His
Thank
Holiness
you.
Bhakti Rasayana Sagar Maharaj ki.
Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.
Bye.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Maharaj. Hari Bol.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Maharaj.
चलो जी काम करो
Maharaj went offline. So.